Logan is directed by James Mangold and it stars Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Boyd Holbrook, Daphne Keane and Stephen Merchant. This is the 9th installment of the X-Men franchise and the final installment in the James Howlett Wolverine story. Set some years in the near future, Logan is a very desolate, broken man who is looking after Charles Xavier, whose powers have spiraled out of control and giving him almost some form of dementia, and his powers are so lethal at times that he induces himself with these spasms that Logan has to keep medicated. And we find these two characters just living in this world full of despair. There's no hope. It's just run down and just beaten into the ground. It's a far cry from the X-Men films that we know. This is truly its own entity, this is its own beast. And when Logan is pulled into a situation involving a mysterious girl, the film really takes hold of this neo-Western tone that it's got going. I really have to applaud James Mangold and the scriptwriters on this movie because Logan really is something special and ballsy in this day and age where we have comic book movies that can be very overblown, very theatrical in a way, and then we have something like Logan, which may have had like $130 million budget, but it feels, for the most part, like an independent film. It's a challenging piece to the audience that speaks about and contemplates what it means to murder someone, the inflictions of death on your conscience, and living with regrets that you can't go and change. This is a permanent world in which consequences can't be rectified. This is a state of permanent desolate doom in some ways. Mangold's direction is very refined and nuanced as he looks and observes the quality of life and perseverance and loss within human beings. He looks at people passing through landscapes and makes clear that time is just this entity that's going by. And in tandem with John Matheson's cinematography, it really evokes these moods and atmospheres of Sergio Leone, Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven, and these very new kind of neo-westerns like Hello High Water. It really takes focus on the environment around them and how that informs this world. It's almost like the landscape is a character in itself that is almost warding off anybody that treads its path. Hugh Jackman in this movie is absolutely, undoubtedly phenomenal. This is his best turn as James Howlett Logan, the Wolverine, and he certainly is the Wolverine in some scenes. This is an incredibly rusing take on this character, and I know we've seen him play it before, but this specific performance, his facial expressions and eyes are enough to say this guy's seen some things and this life is not treating him well at all. Daphne Keane as Laura in this movie is fucking superb. It's a very physical and expression-based performance, and I can't say why because of spoilers, but she definitely holds her own against Hugh Jackman in this movie, and she was just phenomenal. And the interplay between her and Hugh Jackman, it's just magnificent, and I believe she's like 11 years old. Just incredible. And where would we be without Charles Xavier by Patrick Stewart? Because this character, the way he's interpreted in this movie by Patrick Stewart, is very different. And again, like Logan, he's a broken man and he's just a shell of what he once was. And seeing this portrayal in Charles Xavier just really struck a chord. If we look at the Wolverine as a sample of what's to come with Logan, I think that's quite a fair introduction into this final chapter for James Howlett. However, both films have similar issues to do with pace and tone. There is stuff in the third act that I can't spoil because it's not in the trailers and I don't think people are going to expect it, but there is a certain beat that is revealed, and I personally wasn't quite on board with it because it removed me from the tone of the film that the film was going for up until that point. And it's kind of like in the Wolverine where it's this reflective, very similar tone to this movie but a bit more heightened until the last act. And the last act of this movie, while it's not as jarring as the Wolverine, it certainly has that problem of disconnect, and I wasn't sure about the decision that they'd made to include this in there. I know I'm being very vague about it, but when you watch the film, you might understand what I mean. But in the grand scheme of things, Logan, the more I've been thinking about it, because I saw it this Tuesday night, this week, at the advanced preview, and the more I think about it, I adore it. It is such a refreshing take on the comic book movie genre that is kind of losing steam on any side of the front, not just Marvel, DC, or whatever. The signs of fatigue are beginning to show, unfortunately. So when something like this comes along, it is refreshing, and it feels like, yeah, there is still things that we can do in this genre, there is still ground to be explored, and that's what I loved about Logan. And it's a fitting retirement of this character, and just, like my friend was saying, Danny, when I went to see it with him and his girlfriend on Tuesday night, it's like a piece of our childhood has gone away a little bit, because Hugh Jackman has been this character since he started pre-production or whatever on it in 1999 for the first X-Men movie. It's weird to say goodbye to something that's been a part of my life for a long time in cinema, and they couldn't have done it any better in this movie. His performance is electric, and just wow, just go see Logan. Just go do it. Overall, guys, those are my thoughts on Logan. Have you seen it? Let me know in the comments down below if you have, or tweet me on Twitter @ALittleResolve. As always, guys, thank you for watching. You know I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, leave a like on the like button, and if you're new, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.